Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Edie Summers, and my very special guest today is Dr. Joseph Esposito. And Dr. Joseph Esposito is a health advocate, obviously a doctor, lecturer, entrepreneur. And Dr. Esposito, you're going to share a little bit more about your background, and I would love to know more about what brought you into being, into the space of wellness and becoming a health advocate. So let's start there. Could you share with our audience just a little bit about you and your background?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. I got into natural healthcare when I was young. I wanted to be a surgeon originally, and I had an injury in high school, a back injury, and it was unresolved going the medical route. Lots of medication, lots of physical therapy, a discussion on surgery. And my wrestling coach wanted me to go to see a chiropractor, and I didn't want to see a chiropractor. I was like, I'm not seeing one of those guys. And I kept seeing my orthopedic surgeon and kept changing the drugs. And I was just basically, my grades went down. I was tired all the time. And then finally, my wrestling coach said, "You come into the chiropractor with me." And I said, "Are you kidnapping me?" And he says, "Yes, I got a note from your mother and I'm taking you to the chiropractor." And I went there and the chiropractor adjusted me. And the second that he adjusted me, all my pain was gone in a split second after 6, 9 months of constant pain and medications and tests and MRIs and CAT scans. It was gone in a second. And at that moment, it was so shocking to me how without a drug or a surgery or an injection or a knife or anything, all my pain went away. So I flipped to more of an advocate of chiropractic because of the results that I had. And I started really going down the road of understanding how the body heals itself from breathing, nutrition, energy, the so many things that you and I know in the natural health space.
I What a great story. And it's so interesting how I think in modern medicine it is very common, right, to kind of not believe in alternative therapies until you have that personal experience. So you are a chiropractor. Do I
Yes.
have that right?
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead.
I'm a clinical nutritionist, a certified traditional naturopath, a chiropractor, all in the natural health space.
I love that. And I love all those modalities. And again, as you were saying, like we kind of both know that, healing is not linear and it's also, I mean, even quantum, right? Like you kind of have to add in kind of the energetic part of healing as well as the physical part. And so I love that. I love that you shared that story. And then let's talk a little bit about, so maybe someone who has a chronic condition and is looking for answers. Maybe what are some suggestions that you would give to them, or just also your thoughts on kind of that whole space?
Sure. Yeah. Well, we know that about 60% of all disease is chronic disease. So it's the overwhelming majority of disease that's documented in the United States is chronic disease. And then we also know that 70% of the chronic diseases are caused by lifestyle. So if you look, then you can say overall, if you do the calculation, that's 42% of all disease is a lifestyle-based disease, so almost half of disease. So with that being said, we have to really understand. I have been studying for over 2 decades just human behavior around health and why do we do certain things that create certain outcomes. And what I usually say when I lecture to a group of people about health, I usually say, the good news is you're exactly in the right spot you're supposed to be in based on your past behaviors. And they look at me
Mm.
kind of odd and say, I say, you're exactly where you're supposed to be at. Whether you're
Uh,
in shape or you're overweight or you're tired or you're energetic or you sleep well or sleep bad or whatever, wherever you're at, besides the genetic, the subset of people that have a very strong genetic predisposition to something, besides that, and even if you have genetic predisposition, genes, you've heard of epigenetics, the genes are turned on and turned off based on lifestyle and energy. So it's not my genes say this, so I have this. It's my genes show the propensity for this, but my lifestyle will dictate those switches going on or off. So with that empowerment of people, I find that kind of mindset helps people leave the victimhood of health, meaning that I'm just an outcome of my surrounding, or I have no say, or it's just I have no control on the health. And that's just not true. We all can be empowered to do the right things, but we need teachers and Sherpas and guides to help us understand what we should be thinking and what behaviors will help us. And unfortunately, too much, there's no guidance. It's mostly just providing a medication for our symptoms.
Hmm. And let's go a little bit further down that, because you and I were chatting maybe a little bit about the healthcare system. Would you be willing to talk a little bit about that, how that maybe medication, healthcare, kind of maybe how
Yeah.
are we a little bit stuck and maybe like like only one thing works?
Yeah, it's a good discussion. Those of you listening with chronic disease or watching and you have some disease like gout or MS or heart disease, chronic heart, whatever it may be, it's really important for you to be empowered to understand what we can and can't do. But yeah, I'm not an anti-medicine practitioner. I do feel that medicine, pharmaceutical agents are misused. I think they're overused and I think they're abused, but I don't think there's no place for them. It's a subsegment of single digit percentage of people need that line of work in order to stay alive or get out of a crisis or a medical emergency. And it's amazing work that they do. But the other large subset of people have to start challenging the behaviors that we engage. And I think we're in a stage of just numbing ourselves with the foods that we eat, the medications we take, and the thoughts that we allow ourselves to conceive. I think we're just in a mind-numbing state. And if we gain more self-awareness through what I'm talking about, you can probably make some better decisions if you have the gout, the MS, or the heart disease, whatever the disease may be. But I have patients coming in over the years that they're like, I gained 80 pounds over the last 20 years since I graduated high school. Like, well, what'd you used to do? I used to run track and I played basketball and I ate different. Well, what do you do now? No, I sit on the couch. I eat a lot of processed foods. I don't move my body. I'm like, well, what do you think you should do? What you used to do, right? So the answers are in front of us. We just have to get self-aware as to what we're doing, what we're thinking, and what we're doing. And that's really why I love podcasts like this, is because there may be a trigger or something that happens where someone wakes up and says, "Okay, let me start by doing some of the basic stuff." And that's what I think we could talk about now, if you agree, is talking about some of the basic things we can do to get ourselves a step out of that chronic disease state. Is that
Absolutely. I would love to. And yes, because I do think that it is people sometimes I hear people say all the time, "Oh, I know what to do." But it's the follow through that I think is the maybe people struggle with. So yeah, go ahead, Dr. Esposito. What would you suggest for people?
Yeah, so I whether I'm working with someone with terminal cancer, they're in a hospice, or whether I'm helping someone with a chronic headaches, I usually do everything very similar. And I try to treat a human like you would treat a fish in a fish tank. When a fish, the temperature has to be right. If it's a saltwater tank, the salt balance has to be right. You have to put enough food, but not too much food. So it's all about
Mhm.
this equilibrium of the environment and what we provide that fish to keep it alive. And we see that on all types of, we treat ourselves worse than we treat our cars or we treat our pets. Like in your cars, you get oil changes, you fill the air in the tires. With the human, we don't sleep enough. We constant sugar. We're not exercising. We're not even treating the human half as good as we treat our cars. Or if you see your dog is in a bad mood, sitting in the corner, mopey, leaning against the wall, you would say, "What did he eat today? Did he get into something? Did he eat something he shouldn't?" Like that's what we ask because that animal is not looking too well. In a human, when you're like, "You don't look like you feel well, take this drug." No one said, "What did you eat?" No one said, "Did you drink water?" No one said, "Did you exercise?" They say, "You don't look well. Let me get you a synthetic man-made drug to block how you feel." Like, that's what we're
Mhm.
doing. But I think if we treat our ourselves like we treat our pets or our cars, I think it would be a step better. So
Mm,
although we have the availability to do high-end immune testing and genetic testing and some pretty remarkable assessments these days, again, I would treat everyone the same to start off, whether it's a Fortune 100 executive that's depressed and overweight, whether it's a cancer patient or again, someone with chronic headaches, I'm going to go with the basics. I teach them first the free stuff, how to breathe, box breathing. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and hold for 4 seconds. And do this box breathing in, hold, out, hold, in, hold. And it just slows the breathing down, which will change your hormonal makeup, will change your oxygenation, and it'll change the mood because of that. So that's like free and it's simple. And then I'll look at
I,
your water intake, and say, how's your water intake? Are you dehydrated? That's what's causing your headache. That may be causing why you have cancer because you're not eliminating the toxins for the last 30 years because you haven't been drinking water for a couple of decades. Um, and then we'll look at food. What are you bringing in? And we'll take the journey. So, listeners or viewers got to get right back to the basics because it doesn't matter the high-end nutrients that you take or special formulas if you're dehydrated or you're not breathing or you're not sleeping right. All the complexities down the line don't have credence if we don't have the basics set.
that's such a great reminder. And yeah, kind of, I like the analogy of kind of like maybe treat yourself like a plant, a little bit like a plant needs water and sunlight, and pretty soon, otherwise it's going to start drooping.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. So that's a great reminder. And thank you for that.
Yeah, and you don't want to give too much water because now you
Yeah.
see it causing a problem like, oh, so it's all about this equilibrium and balance that we need to engage in. Um,
Mhm.
so I think one of the topics that's interesting for me is when we talk about food, it's such an emotional thing for people. There's a couple things that you can do to help break some of the habits. And I think the first thing that people should do is they should not attach guilt to any of their food behaviors. Because when you're on a healthy diet and then you have a day where you go to a birthday party, have birthday cake, and have some soda, or you do something like that, you immediately attach a lot of guilt to that action. And then you
Mhm.
end up just having cake the next day and just saying, forget it because I cheated. Just get rid of the concept of cheating and just
Mhm.
embrace the enjoyment of food. And if you have the chocolate cake, enjoy the chocolate cake. Every bite of it, enjoy it. And the key is not that meal, but the most important meal after a meal that is not in a healthy state is the next meal.
Mhm.
So that's the most important meal is the meal after that meal that wasn't as healthy. And as long as we get back into getting back on the wagon, eating healthy, it's all good. It's all okay. But what we do is we get obsessed with things. And then when we do something wrong, we just feel so guilty. We just throw in the towel. We have so much shame and it
Mhm.
hurts us, causing weight gain and depression and other things. So my advice is to just have total grace. And we're always working to improve our behaviors. Maybe we're learning how to eat better slowly, and then we don't eat as well, and it's all okay. It's all okay. Does that make sense in a psychological?
Absolutely. Yeah, that I really appreciate that for our listening audience. Just give yourself grace, give yourself compassion. It's not going to happen in one day. And if you fall off the wagon, enjoy the meal or,
Yeah,
or the scenery or whatever, and then get right back on. Yeah, that is such a great reminder. And the shame component too, because I do think that people drop the ball because they feel shame, because they think they did something wrong, and then they kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater.
yeah. So
Yeah.
true. And I think the beauty on the biggest thing for me in doing like let's say podcasts like this is to help people gain awareness. Like I was saying, self-awareness is the key to all success in life. Relationships, finance, business, health, anything you want in life. The number one thing we need is to be self-aware, because self-aware will raise your consciousness and allow you to experience a next level of life. So the consciousness around eating, when you have that awareness, like I didn't eat really healthy yesterday and I really enjoyed it. Today I feel really bad and I have a lot of cravings. Why do I have
Mhm.
cravings? Well, because my blood sugar was so high, it spiked up and then crashed and it made me crave all day the next day. I don't like the craving. I did enjoy the cake, but I don't really like the craving. Next time, I may not have as much of it, maybe just a little sliver to get a taste. Or you know what? I don't like the way I feel at all. I'm probably not even going to enjoy it next time. So I'll probably eliminate it. But that's me deciding, not me having shame and saying, I have to not eat that cake. Like I got to fight it and be miserable through the process. Just allow your body to become self-aware and associate how you feel to the actions that you partake in on a daily basis. And I promise you, whether you're any disease you have, if you get a little bit of movement in the body, you get a little perspiration, you get your body moving, it changes hormones, it changes inflammation, it literally changes the level of pain you experience on any disease. A little bit of movement. And you'll notice you feel better and better as you engage in more movement. What we do as humans, especially in America, is we have an obsessive culture. So we go from eating Big Macs to fasting. I'm just gonna fast hard, or I go from not working out to going to the gym for 2 hours today, and then I can't walk for a month.
Yeah.
Uh, we have to engage in things that we can do the rest of our life. So if you
Mhm.
say, I can work out 5 minutes a day, awesome. Commit to 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week for the rest of your life. And that is more valuable than 2 hours once a month when you have the urge to work out. You get more value out of it. And if it goes to 7 minutes, that's awesome. But if it's only five, it's better than not doing the workout, right? So, same thing with food. If we can just make sure we drink enough water a day before we drink any other juice or any other things, we get the water in. That's an awesome idea. You're probably not going to want the soda anyway after you consume all the amount of water you need throughout the day. So that's kind of the way I teach. I don't know what you think of that, but it just provides more
Oh,
grace on the.
absolutely. Absolutely that. And then I want to respect your time here, Dr. Esposito,
Yeah.
but absolutely. That's what I discovered that worked for me too with chronic health issues was I naturally became more aware of what my body was telling me. This feels better to eat this, to eat better. I feel better. And so you can kind of slow down and tune in more and create more sustainable, like small sustainable habits. And then you build more confidence to try even more. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling
Yeah.
cycle. So yeah, so I think those are such great reminders. And then again, I want to respect your time. So why don't you share with us, you have a chiropractic chain, is that correct? And
Yeah.
a supplement line. Is there anything you want to share with people as far as your businesses go?
Sure. Yeah. If Align Life is the integrated chiropractic clinics around the country. It's called Align, ALIGN, Life, LIFE.com. And we do a very objective assessment in chiropractic, looking at pre-X-rays impacting the spine and the nervous system, and then post X-rays to see the structural change that we achieve during a period of time. So it really is remarkable work on helping the nervous system fully engage the communication from the brain to the body and from the body back to the brain, so we have good communication. That's the one business. Asiva is a nutrient line, which we do specialize in chronic disease. So we do even health coaching for those that want a little more detailed help. We do advanced lab testing. And the one most exciting thing for people with chronic disease is we custom do nutrient packs based on what the lab says. So we can
Wow.
custom make a
Okay.
pack, let's say for MS or heart disease, and then send it directly to their doorstep once a month. And then every 6 months, we do lab tests and we modify the nutrients you need based off lab. So really remarkable results with chronic disease. And that's Aceva, ACEVA.com. So yeah, we'd love to assist your viewers, your audience in any way that we can help. And I appreciate the opportunity to come on and share your
Yeah.
passion in health.
Absolutely. I think that's so great that you first test and
Yeah.
then custom. That's people really need that, I think. And then I'm a personally a huge fan of chiropractic. So
Oh,
and
good.
then before we go, is there anything else that you would like to say, or any final insights, or anything at all that is front of
Yeah,
mind?
in closing, I would say, be empowered in all aspects of your life, starting with your health, because health transcends into every area of your life. If we're in victimhood in health, and we're in victimhood in other areas of our life. So just keep yourself empowered, realize that you create your own destiny in all aspects of life, and keep grace on the journey and see what can we be more self-aware today than we were yesterday.
Love that. And thank you so much. That's a great way to end. And I'm just gonna thank you so much for everyone for being here.
Yeah.
And just
Awesome.
gonna pause, stop recording.